G'day friends, Franny here. Welcome to your Considered Body yoga practice. This class pays particular attention to gentle mobility of the spine. We're going to start slow and stretchy before coming up to stand and then landing that plane nice and smoothly back down on our mats. All you're going to need is a mat, but no, having props like blocks or blankets may be supportive, so set yourself up with whatever you might need. Know that every posture is just a suggestion or an option, not a requirement. Take what you need and leave what you don't. This is your body, this is your time. And we'll get started in a seat. So a crisscross leg seat is what I'm offering. And I encourage you to find the awkward wrap of your legs. So not the one that you would go to instinctively, but the opposite. And we'll be switching it up soon enough anyway. Rock from side to side so your sitting bones can get nice and heavy. Stack the vertebra of your spine, give your shoulders a little wiggle, and then just let them settle down. Take a deeper breath in. And a slower breath out. You've arrived. Setting the intention just to meet whatever comes up with kindness. It's easier said than done. Offering yourself this attitude of compassion. Planting the seed so that you can take that attitude off your mat and into your world outside of your physical yoga practice. Yoga is something that we can apply to our life on and off the mat. Take one more big breath in and one more big breath out. Maybe your eyes flutterd closed and you can keep them just like that, or maybe you gently blink them open. And as you next breathe in, reach your arms wide and up. And then as you breathe out, find a big squeeze of your lats as you pull your elbows down towards your bottom ribs, engaging through the back side of your body, minimal extension of your spine, keeping your ribs anchored. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, big squeeze, arms down, broadening your collarbones. 1 more, inhale. And exhale. And then bring your hands onto your lap as you switch the wrap of your legs, and just take that little moment again to shift your weight from side to side, forward and back. Shrug your shoulders, let them drop, getting a little bit more length up through the tips of your ears. And then using your hands as an anchor on your knees or on your thighs, we're going to start to find this little circular motion of our upper spine. So I want you to imagine you're sitting in the bottom of a jar, peanut butter. And then you're using your ribs kind of to scrape the edges of the jar just to get all that good remaining peanut butter out. So as you breathe in, find a little bit more length and at the same time root down. And then start to circle your rib cage over towards your right. And then slowly sweep it back. Maybe your chin drops a little towards your chest. Ribs start to circle over towards the left. And then pull your chest forward and through. So your pelvis is staying stable and steady. Keep it going. We're going to do 3 circles in one direction. Almost like you're expanding your shoulder blades as you pull your rib cage back. Over to the left. Subtle puff of the chest as you come through center. We'll do 1 more in this direction. And this movement might be really small, really subtle. but the sensation might be big, or maybe it's the opposite. And then now we're just going to change directions. So next time you come through center, start to circle your rib cage over towards the left. Imagine you're scraping that peanut butter out of the jar, taking your rib cage back, over to the right, and then back through center. Do that 2 more times. And hey, maybe you want to make this a little bit bigger, a little bit more dramatic. That swirling motion might feel really good in large range, and if so, then go there. But I like to start a little smaller and a little bit more quietly, just because that's often where we can notice the most, and not where we intuitively or instinctively go in our busy, noisy, kind of crazy world. Complete that last rotation, and one more time, finding the stacking of your spine in neutral position. Inhale your arms up high. Exhale, pull your arms down. And then slowly just start to stretch your legs long out in front of you. You might shift your pelvis back for a moment. Again, rock from side to side. Your legs, they can be straight, they can be bent. Just find what works for you, and maybe you just give your legs a little bit of loving touch. Saying hello, feeling the texture, the warmth of your skin. And then keep your left leg long. Knee can be bent, and then just start to pull your right thigh in towards your chest. And I encourage you to wrap your arms around your leg and just create this little bit of compression through the front of your right hip. Noticing what you notice here. Maybe you play with extending the left leg a little bit longer. Maybe you keep it bent. And then keeping your right leg hugged with your right arm. Inhale your left arm up high, and then you're going to hook your left elbow around your right leg, and then releasing your right arm, start to find a gentle twist over towards the right side. Your right hand might be grounded, you might be on tented fingertips. See if you can find this lift of your chest. Pelvis is staying relatively square, and we're rotating through our upper back. Knowing it's not about going as deep as possible here, but easing ourselves in, knowing that we'll be revisiting this shape again in our practice. And just as you entered, start to exit. Slowly rotate back. And then we're just going to switch sides. So start to extend your right leg, pull your left leg up and in towards your chest. Take a moment. Feel into it. Giving a nice hug to feel a compression through the front of your left hip this time. And then keeping the wrap of your left arm around left leg, inhale your right arm towards the sky. And then start to hook your left shin in the crook of your right elbow. And then take your left hand back behind you as you find that twist towards your left side. Elongating the spine, finding a lift through the crown, through the tips of your ears. Using the hook of your right arm to pull your left side that little closer towards you. Not forcing it, not cranking it, but just creating this gentle hug, this little bit of pressure to help find your rotation. Pelvis stays heavy, finding that expansive breath through your entire rib cage, your lower abdomen. And then slowly, just as you entered, start to exit your twist. And then scoot your pelvis a little closer towards the top edge of your mat. And then slowly start to make your way down onto your back. I like to kickstand the elbows and then slide them out of the way. Head heavy, shoulder blades nice and wide. Rock your hips from side to side. And then bending your knees so they're pointing up towards the ceiling. Set your feet down about hips distance apart. I invite you to bring the heels of your hands and rest them on the bony parts of your frontal hips or thereabout. And we're just going to find a little hip hike motion here. So think of it as a seesaw. Your hips aren't leaving the mat. They're going to stay as grounded, but only so much that they can still move. Start to lower your left hip. So it's like you're creating more space on your left side and then contracting your right side. So think of a seesaw. The left side's going down, the right side's going up. And then switch. So pull your left hip towards your left ribs. Stretch your right hip away from your right ribs. The movement is subtle, just like that rotation of our spine in the peanut butter jar. But we're mobilizing our SI joint here. So think of the back of your pelvis around your sacrum, that upside down triangle bone at the back of our hips. Seesaw motion, side to side. It feels a little bit like lateral flexion or a side bend, even though we're not leaning in any direction. Breathing into it. Rib cage, low abdomen, expanding and contracting with your inhale and exhale. And then when you're balanced from left to right, side to side, just come through center and settle into a neutral position as best you can once again. Keep your left leg as it is, knee bent and up towards the ceiling. And then start to hug your right knee in towards your chest, creating that little bit of compression once again. Maybe you find a little rock from side to side. Maybe you stay grounded and then slowly start to hug the back of your right thigh as you reach your heel up towards the ceiling. Your ankle or your foot is flexed. And then just start to explore here. Maybe you try pulling your thigh a little closer in. Maybe it stays stacked over your hip. Maybe you can straighten your leg. Maybe you keep the bend. Just moving in a way that feels compassionate. Breathing into your right side, but also noticing what's happening in your left side. You might keep your left foot on the ground, or maybe you slowly start to slide your left foot away. Noticing how that changes the sensation through the right side, but maybe you notice you can get a bit of a stretch through the front of your left hip as well. Staying here for one more breath in, one more breath out. And then slowly, maybe you bend the knee, maybe you keep the leg long. We're just going to find a supine twist, guiding your right leg over and across the left side of your body, keeping your shoulder blades as heavy as you can, stretching your right arm away, maybe your left palm anchors your outer right thigh down. Adjust your shoulder blades so nothing feels scrunched up, taking up as much space as you can here. I invite you to think about pulling your right hip down a little and then maybe sweeping your right arm up and overhead, getting a little bit more spacious through your right side. Taking one more breath in and one more breath out. Starting to unwind, bending your right knee, hugging it back in towards your right side as you roll your pelvis into a neutral grounded position. And then set your right foot down, right knee towards the ceiling, and then switch. Left knee, left thigh pulls up in towards your chest, feeling the compression through the front of your hip. Maybe you rock. And then when you're ready, start to extend your left foot up towards the ceiling. Finding flexion at your ankle, pulling your toes towards your face or your shin. Interlacing your fingers behind your left thigh. And again, maybe you find movement, maybe you find stillness. Pulling your thigh or your knee a little closer towards your face, or maybe just keeping them stacked over your hip. You can even play with lowering your heel towards your bum cheek and then lifting back up again. Every posture is an invitation. It's an option, it's a suggestion. It's up to you to choose what best serves you in the moment. Try not to force anything here. Feeling into the back of your left leg. Maybe you keep your right knee bent, or maybe you explore stretching it that little bit longer, just noticing how that shifts the sensation overall, what gets a little louder, what starts to fall away. We'll take one more breath in, one more breath out. And then starting to find our supine twist, using your right hand to guide your left leg over and across towards the right side. Maybe you keep the leg long, maybe you find more of a bend at the knee. Stretch your left fingertips away to a T or a cactus shape. Adjust your shoulder blades so nothing feels scrunched up. Spreading whatever's touching the mat like a puddle, taking up as much space as you can. Using your right hand to anchor your left thigh down. Maybe you stay right here again. Maybe you start to find this little tug of your left hip crease down as you sweep your left arm up. Getting that little bit more spacious and expansive, just feeling into it. Taking one more breath in and one more breath out. Gently starting to unwind, hugging both knees in towards your chest. And when you do, come through center, a little rock from side to side, this subtle massage through the back of your hips and your lower spine, maybe rolling your ankles and wiggling your toes. And then just start to gently roll yourself over to your preferred side. And we're going to use the engagement of our core and the strength of our arms to press ourselves up. So take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, press down through your palm. Use both arms to push yourself up. And then start to make your way into an all fours position. Readjusting your location on your mat so you're nice and centered, hands beneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips. And similar to what we did in that hip hike motion, start to pull your right hip crease away from your right shoulder, and your left hip and your left shoulder will come a little closer together. And then switch sides. Right hip, right shoulder come closer. Left hip, left shoulder stretch away. It's almost this wagging of the tail-like motion. It's not your usual cat-cow, but if that's where you feel called to go, you can go there. Getting this nice lateral stretch through the spine. And then next time your right hip, your right shoulder is stretched away, start to set your right hand in front of your left, maybe a little further towards the corner of the mat. Getting this lateral stretch, this time with more of a side lean. Get really expansive through your right side rib cage. You might stay in your all fours, or maybe you start to lower your left forearm, your left elbow down to the ground and pull your hips back. It's this hovering child's pose with a side stretch. Feel it out. Try it on. Take what you need, leave what you don't. One more breath in, one more breath out. And then coming back through center, walk your right hand back beneath your right shoulder. Pull your right hip towards your right shoulder, stretching your left side. And then bringing your left hand a little further in front of your right hand towards the right corner of your mat. Feeling into the stretch through your left side. Lean into it, breathe into it. Coming back to your breath. And then maybe you start to pull your hips back, dropping your right forearm down towards the ground, creating this little kickstand. As you continue to lean, maybe you wiggle, maybe you sway. What isn't an option is breathing. Not holding your breath. Not forcing it, but letting it flow. One more inhale. And one more exhale. Slowly start to press yourself back up. Walk your left hand back beneath your left shoulder socket. Finding one round of cow. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your tailbone. Heart pulls through. Maybe you tip the back of your head towards the back of your neck. And then as you exhale, start to tuck your toes. Press into your hands. Slowly lift your knees as you lift your hips up into a downward facing dog. Maybe walk the dog a little, readjust the location on your mat just to what feels good and centered and grounded. Maybe you lift your heels before sinking them down, this little shift of your weight backwards and forwards, whatever you need in this moment. And then starting to settle into relative stillness, let the tips of your ears fall towards the heels of your hands as you set your gaze in between your big toe mounds. Imagine someone had a scarf and they'd kind of looped it underneath your hip points and were trying to pull you back. Yeah. Knowing your heels may never touch the ground, that's okay. It's this sensation of weight, of sinking, of dropping down, lengthening through the back side of your legs. Breathing here, inhaling deeply. And maybe exhaling with a sigh. As you next breathe in, send your gaze towards the tips of your thumbs. And then as you exhale, step your right foot forward in between your hands for a runner's lunge. Just a transition. As you next breathe in, lower your left knee down, sweep your arms up, low lunge. Interlace your fingers at the knuckles above your head, and then take a few breaths just to arrive here. Squeezing your left glute on to feel a sensation of stretch through the front of your left hip. Your arms are reaching up, but your shoulders aren't shrugging up, they're anchored down. Firm through your forward foot, knee stacks over your ankle, and there's a weightiness to your tailbone, keeping your low abdomen engaged. Finding that same stability through our pelvis, we're finding that peanut butter jar rotation once again. So as you next breathe in, find a little puff beneath your collarbones without overextending your spine, and then find that little lean of your right rib cage over towards the right. A little spreading of your shoulder blades, a mild flexion of your upper back as you pull your heart back. Ribs over towards the left. And then coming through center once again. One way in each direction. Start to lean your ribs over to the left. Pull them back. Feel the expansion. Leaning over towards the right, and then coming forward and through, feeling into the front of your left hip. Take a big breath in. And then as you breathe out, half split. Start to pull your hips back, extending your right leg, letting your hands fall down towards the ground. Your right knee may be majorly bent. That's a-okay. It might be majorly straight or somewhere in between. Maybe you rock back onto your heel, lifting your toes, or maybe you keep the ball mound of your foot grounded. You might wag your tail here. You might find a wave-like motion of your spine here. Just feel into what feels most compassionate towards your body in this moment, not forcing anything, rather holding space for what is here. Taking one more breath in and one more breath out. As you next breathe in, start to re-bend your right knee. Walk both hands forward, but your left hand will come a little further forward of your left shoulder. Float your left knee up, finding a runner's lunge, and we're taking it into a simple twist. So inhale, start to circle sweep your right arm forward, up, and then as you finish your breath, rotating your chest towards the inseam of your right leg. Pull your right hip crease back. Your left heel is high, the back of your pelvis is buoyant. Anchor your right shoulder blade down as you take one more big breath, sparking through the tips of your fingers. And then as you exhale, warrior dog. Set your back foot down to a 45. Keep the lunge in your right knee as you walk your hands to the left at a diagonal. So it's warrior two through your legs. It's downward dog through your arms. Notice what happens when you shift more weight into your feet. Notice what happens when you shift more weight into your hands. Pull your hips back, let your head drop, and then open yourself up to receive the sensation, the energy. What's arising in this posture, knowing that it's just a suggestion. It's up to you to make it yours. Lengthen through the tips of your ears, relax your jaw, take one more breath in, one more breath out. Slowly start to walk your hands underneath your shoulders, shifting all of your weight into your legs. Take a breath in as you start to rise, keeping the warrior, the lunge through your forward knee, and then bring your hands to prayer up and overhead. Take another breath in as you find this little bit more reach through the tips of your fingers, this mild extension through your upper back. And then as you exhale, pull your thumbs towards the nape of your neck. Find this gentle pressure of your head into your forearms, feeling a little compression through your upper back. Not letting your rib cage flare, but feeling this expansion like it was a sail being caught in the wind. Lunge a little bit more deeply into your forward knee. Weight in your heel, all 5 toes grounded for stability. Inhale, exhale. Next breath in, stretch your arms wide to a T, warrior two. Gaze down your forward middle finger. Drop your shoulders. Your arms are strong, but there's a softness to your reach. Take one more breath in. One more breath out. As you next inhale, pivot forward, float your left knee to your chest. You're balancing on your right leg. Arms can extend to the ceiling. They can be on your hips. Just take a moment. Feel your right foot gripping the ground. Keep a softness at the back of your right knee. Now you might stay right here. Or maybe, just like we did before, you start to hug your right thigh a little closer towards the side of your ribs. Maybe you give a little roll of your ankle. Feel the compression through the front of your left hip. You can stay right here with the hug. Or maybe you inhale, start to float your right arm to the sky. And then use your right elbow to catch your left shin or your left knee. And then maybe you bring your left hand to your sacrum, the back of your hips, finding that twist once again. Your pelvis is staying square towards the top edge of your mat. You're finding the rotation through your upper back. Can you get a little taller without locking out through your right knee? Breathe. One more inhale. One more exhale. As you inhale, start to unwind, starting by bringing your left hand away from your sacrum, coming back through center, and then slowly setting your left foot down, inhaling, arms up high, both feet grounded, and then exhale, swan dive, arms wide, tracing a big circle as you bow down, shifting the weight forward and back in your feet, putting as much bend in your knees as you need. As you inhale, find a glide of your hands up your shins for a halfway lift, pulling your hip creases back, lengthening through the tips of your ears. And then as you exhale, set your hands down, step your feet back, downward facing dog. Breathing here. Maybe pedaling your feet. Nodding or shaking your head, wiggling your hips, whatever you need. Taking this moment to come back to this attitude of compassion. Not forcing, not pushing away, just flowing with what's right here. Inhaling and exhaling. As you next breathe in, gaze forward, start to step your left foot in between your hands for a runner's lunge, knowing it's just a transition. And then as you next breathe in, set your right knee down, sweep your arms up, finding an interlacing of your knuckles as you reach them up towards the ceiling. Lengthen your tailbone down towards the back of your right knee, anchor your rib cage. Lengthen through the tips of your ears. Take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, start to spiral your rib cage like you were sitting in that jar of peanut butter. One rotation in each direction. Follow your body's guidance as to which way you go and how long you linger, forward, back, side to side. Taking your time, moving with your breath. Yoga is very much a listening practice. Not listening as in following instruction, but listening as in doing what best serves you in the moment. Not forcing anything, but flowing with it. Take an inhale breath in your low lunge. And then as you exhale, release the grip of your hands, start to pull your hips back, straightening your left leg for half splits. Letting your hands rest where your body feels most supported. They can be further away, they can be closer in towards your center line. Just like on side one, you might have a generous bend in your left knee. Maybe you have more of a straight leg. Maybe the ball mound of your foot stays grounded, or maybe you peel it back towards your shin or your face. You might find movement here, or maybe you just breathe. That might be enough movement. Noticing how it feels through the back of your left leg, the back of your left hip. Elongating your spine. Staying in our half splits for one more breath in. And one more breath out. As you next breathe in, start to re-bend your left knee. Lift your right knee. Finding our simple twist once again, setting your right hand down just a fraction further forward of your right shoulder. And then inhale, circle sweep your left arm forward, up and around. Push a little bit more heavy through your forward foot. Get a little lighter in your back heel, finding that buoyancy through the back of your pelvis. Draw your left hip back as you reach your left arm skywards. Keeping your pelvis relatively square. Again, the rotation is through our upper back, our thoracic spine. Pulling your shoulder blades towards one another. Stay for one more breath in. And one more breath out. Breathe in here. And then as you exhale, start to set your left hand down. Set your right foot down to a 45. So you've got warrior two through your low body. And then downward facing dog through your upper limbs. Walk your hands over towards the right at the diagonal. Press into all 10 fingers in the heels of your hands. Press into your heels and the pinky toe edge of your feet. And again, notice what happens when you put more weight in your hands. Notice what happens when you shift more weight into your legs. Rocking forward and back, find the balance, the equilibrium that best serves you in this moment. Notice the sensation, the energetics, the emotions that might be arising. Not pushing them away, but offering them arms outstretched like a hug. Letting your upper body just drape, taking one more inhale, one more exhale. And then slowly start to walk your hands back beneath your shoulders, shifting all of your weight into your legs. As you breathe in, push into the floor as you sweep your arms outwards, upwards, palms coming to prayer overhead, interlacing your knuckles or maybe keeping your fingertips long. Take a big breath in, puff through your chest without letting your ribs flare. Keep lunging into your legs. And then exhale, bring your thumbs towards the nape of your neck, pressing your head into your forearms like you would a car headrest. Maybe you notice you get that little bit more length through your triceps, through your upper back, your lats. Noticing where you feel heaviness, noticing where you feel spaciousness, knowing that one is not better than the other, but both necessary to feel grounded and expansive. When you next breathe in, arms reach wide to a T. Gaze down your forward middle finger. Really lunge into your front side. Anchor your sitting bones down. Open through the front of your hips. Soften your shoulders. Breathe. Inhale and exhale. As you next breathe in, pivot your pelvis forward, shift your weight into your left leg, standing knee raise, right kneecap hovers to meet your frontal hip, arms extend. You can stay right here. Or again, maybe you find this hug of your right thigh towards your right side ribs. Maybe you roll your ankle and wiggle your toes. Just like where we've been before, but this time standing. Now you might stay right here and focus on the compression at the front of your hip. Or maybe you start to inhale, float your left arm up high, and then use your exhale to hook your left elbow in front of your right knee or your right shin. And then unwind into a twist to bring your right hand to your sacrum. Twisting through your upper spine. What do you need to do to create a little bit more lift through the tips of your ears, the crown of your head? That little bit more rotation through your middle back. That little bit more stability through your grounded leg. The adjustment might just be an attitude, a way of thinking. Nothing physical. Take one more breath in. And one more breath out. Slowly start to unwind from your twist. Come back through center. And then slowly set your right foot down. Reground through both feet. Inhale your arms up high. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Take your time, bend your knees. Fingertips meet the earth. Inhale, slow glide into your halfway lift. And then exhale, hands set down, step back, downward facing dog. Just for a breath in. And a slow breath out. Start to fan your knees wide, set them down, child's pose. Untucking your toes, pulling your hips back. Arms, chest, forehead, slowly lower down. Breathe here. Noticing what you've cultivated. What's here? And maybe you can meet it with this little inward smile, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, uncomfortable or comfortable. Transformation, it can be tricky, but it's so worth it. I'm going to seal our practice on our stomachs. So when you're ready, start to slither on down onto your belly. And then right away, just start to stretch your right arm out to a T or a cactus shape, rolling onto your right side. It's a pretty fiery feeling through the front of your right shoulder. So your hips will start to stack as you rotate from your ribs down, opening through your right side pectoral muscle, that's your chest. Another little twist as we start to seal our practice. Big breaths into your belly. Inviting a little softness, a little bit more heaviness with every exhale. Just one more breath. And then start to come through center. And then using your left forearm, as a little pillow, set it down and parallel to the top edge of your mat, and then start to pull your right heel in towards your right bum cheek. And maybe you stay right there, or maybe you can sweep your right arm back and catch a hold of the top of your foot, pulling your foot a little closer towards your hamstring or your seat. This time getting a nice stretch through the front of your right hip, the belly of your quad, after all of the hamstring lengthening we've been doing. Breathing in. There's that bit of effort to find the grip of hand to foot. But see if you can set effort down elsewhere. Allowing the rest of your body to kind of relax here as best you can. And then just start to release your right foot nice and gently. And then we'll switch to the opposite side. So bring your right hand in line with your right chest, left arm out to a T or a cactus, and then roll yourself up and over onto your left side. So your hips will head in the direction of stacking, knowing that they may not. That's okay. Feeling into the sensation through the front of your left shoulder, your left chest. Meeting what's here. Welcoming the guests. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then slowly starting to unwind, using your right forearm as a pillow or a prop this time as you bring your forearm in line with the top edge of your mat. When your hips are neutral and grounded, start to pull your left heel in towards your left hamstring. Maybe you stay there, or maybe you can catch the top of your foot in your palm, squeezing your heel a little closer towards your hip. Breathing into your belly as you stretch through the belly of your quad. Can you soften the shoulder on your left side? Allowing whatever's touching the ground to kind of spread like a puddle. Finding as much ease as you can, knowing that this isn't necessarily easy at all. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then releasing your foot gently and slowly. You might take Shavasana here on your belly for something different, or you might decide to roll onto your side or to your back. Find whatever is comfortable and calling you, and that will allow you to lay in relative stillness for a few more moments. Resting with your body here. Resting your awareness here. Almost as if you're about to drift off to sleep. Slowing down your breathing. Choosing to find ease in what isn't necessarily easy. Making that choice. Taking a deeper breath in. A slow, long breath out. When you're ready, however it serves you, however it supports you, start to exit your restful position, pressing yourself up into a calm and grounded upright position. Making whatever adjustments, little wiggles, little rocks, whatever you need to do to find this stacking of your bones and this softening of your muscles. Taking a moment just to notice and acknowledge what you've cultivated here. And then offering yourself some gratitude for showing up. For taking this time just to be here with yourself. It's easier said than done. Coming back to the intention of a compassionate attitude, carrying that with you as you step off your mat and step out into the world. Knowing that yoga is so much more than a physical practice. Keep on practicing. We'll seal our time together here with one more breath in. Big stretch outwards and upwards as you inhale. And then exhale, pull your palms down, rest them on your heart space. A quiet thank you to yourself. And a thank you from me to you. I hope to see you again soon.